Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me. We are here with fabulous Jeanai. Jeanai, please introduce yourself and tell us all the things.
First of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be a part of the team. I am Jeanai Vita. I am what's considered to be a singing voice specialist. So that means I'm a professional performer, a voice instructor who's interested and committed to evidence-based voice science. I'm also a doctoral candidate in vocal performance, which means I practice what I preach, but I also am really diligent as a lifelong learner in studying voice science and what contributes to our living instrument as singers, as performers. Yeah.
It's so informative, all of our sessions, and obviously they're very individualized and catered to me, but I've learned so much about just my body and how it's changing and vocally and hormonally in pregnancy and just what I can carry with me postpartum. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit, and if you can lead us into it.
For sure. And again, what you're doing is so noble because it gives us a hands-on, view of what you're going through, even though it is a very individualized process. Much of what we go through as AFAB individuals is relatable within our community and certainly should be better understood within our community as AFAB people, but also people who we interact with. When you're pregnant, as you are, there are significant increases, for instance, in estrogen and progesterone, which are two hormones that are critical for the singing voice, for the performing body. And those are also increased hormones that we experience throughout our lives. Puberty, menstruation, pregnancy, birth control, which is a huge part of our adult, even, from puberty sort of life through peri and post menopause. So what you are going through right now in terms of estrogen and progesterone is something that we experience on a regular basis. So it's really interesting and important to highlight how does that impact your mucosa levels, your breathing, how you genuinely have space in the body. Yeah. The pregnant body is growing another individual. So that means making space. We have to deal with, as the uterus grows, your mediastinum, which is that area in the thoracic cavity that partitions the lungs from.
Where is that?
So that's right in this area. So you have, the mediastinum basically separates out the pleural cavities. So you have within that area your heart, your aorta, your really important for singing, your trachea. So the windpipe, as we say, in layman's terms. So all of that is getting pushed up throughout your pregnancy. So by the third trimester, by week, I think you said you're at 29.
I'm at 29. I'm about to be at 30. So we'll just say I'm at 30 now. Yeah.
This is when most women tend to experience a big shift in terms of, the progesterone levels are high, so your body is processing CO2 differently, which means you may feel shortness of breath.
Is that why? I'm like, one thing that has definitely shifted is just stamina. And I'm like, okay, is that just my breath support or what's going on? Like everything is changing and I'm just trying to navigate through everything that's evolving within.
Estrogen and progesterone have two main impacts on the voice. And this again happens throughout, from puberty through, menopause and postmenopausal years. So estrogen in general is responsible for sending blood flow. So that includes to the larynx. The larynx is full of these hormone receptors. So that means increased blood flow to the larynx can change the timbre, can change the tone quality. So like we've experienced, you have a warmer quality. You personally, most people I would say in pregnancy or with elevated estrogen levels will feel that, where it's like a warmer, maybe a thicker, denser tone quality. And as estrogen levels thin, for instance, in postpartum, even every monthly cycle, when the estrogen and progesterone start to thin, you feel a difference. So for instance, when progesterone levels are high, which they are because they're thickening the uterine lining, they're also thickening the mucosa. So we feel, cervical mucus and laryngeal mucus are the same. That is, and the levels elevate very proportionately. So you will find that, maybe vibrato or pitch regulation is a little bit more of a challenge with these elevated levels. And it's so important that you are working through your pregnancy. I cannot emphasize this enough. This will set you up so well because, like anything, people who have surgery, doctors tell you, again, to be clear, I'm not a medical doctor, although I work closely with medical doctors, fielding this research, but doctors will tell you before surgery, get in the best shape of your life because it makes the recovery so much easier. Yes. Pregnancy is absolutely the same, and you have done this so well, and it's such an important lesson for everyone else that if you are singing all the way through, you're going to be in better shape on the other side. So postpartum is going to be so much easier, not just to rehabilitate where we feel like we have to go back to something, but more importantly, to move through and to appreciate that you were going to come out stronger on the other side.